this search thing here, and we've inserted multiple items into the list, starting at index 1. Now you can also sort a list. So if I do, here we go, items.sort, it will sort the list. But you have to make sure, okay, we have an error. It's not supported between, we have a combination of ints and strings. So let's make it so it's all strings in the list. And then it should be able to sort it. Okay, now the strings are in alphabetical order. And if we were using integers or floats, then they would just be in numerical order. Now, one thing that's interesting about that, if I change this to bow, you'll see now we have this at the beginning and this at the end. The sort method orders uppercase letters first and then lowercase letters. So to fix that, actually to make it make more sense, we're going to change that to Bob. And to fix that, within the sort, I'm gonna put key equals str.lower. And now it's going to sort these correctly how you would imagine, not caring about uppercase or lowercase letters. Sorting modifies the original list content. So to avoid that, you can copy the list content using, so let me show you. If we do items copy equals items, and then we make a slice with nothing at the beginning and nothing at the end. So it's going to start at the beginning of the list to the end of the list. And now we can have a copy, and I can print items copy. So if I print that, so now we see we have the sorted list that we ran the sort on, but we also still have the original list. So with all the words in the original order. And there is also a way to sort a list without returning a new list. There's also a way to sort a list without modifying the original list. So instead of copying a list, what I'm going to do is instead of doing items.sort, we're going to use a global function called sorted. So in the sorted function, we are going to pass in two parameters. So first is the list, items, and then the second is how we're sorting. So this just makes sure that the case of the letters don't matter. And then I'm just going to print that. Now if I run this, you can see we printed the sorted list, and now we're printing the list, and it's no longer sorted because this created a new list without modifying the original list. Okay, now let's learn about another data structure called tuples. So this time I'm gonna put tuples. So we're using a comment here. So tuples are another fundamental Python data structure. They allow you to create immutable groups of objects. This means that once a tuple is created, it cannot be modified. So we already saw that we could modify lists, but a tuple, you can't even add or remove items. They're created in a way similar to lists, but using even add or remove items. They're created in a way similar to lists, but using parentheses instead of square brackets. So for instance, I'm going to do names equals, instead of using square brackets, we're going to do parentheses, Roger, and Sid. Okay, so a tuple is ordered like a list, so you can get its values by referencing an index. So I could say, for instance, names, and if I do the bracket, I could put a 0 here to return Roger. And then you can also use the index method. For instance, names dot index, and then I can pass in something like Roger. And then this is going to return 0 because it's going to get the index number of that. So as with strings and lists, using a negative index will start searching from the end. So I could do that. I can do -1 to start, not -0, -1 to start searching from the end here. And you can count the items in a tuple with the length function. So I can do, if I do length and then do names, if I printed that, it would just print 2 because there are 2 items in that tuple. Then you can also check if an item is contained in a tuple with the in operator, very similar to a list. So I can do, this time I will print it. I'll do print Roger in names. So if I print that and run it, we'll see true because Roger is in the names. And then you can extract part of a tuple using slices, just like we could do with strings and lists. So I could do names, and then I could do 0, starting at the 0, 2. So that's just going to start at the 0 index and be done at the index 2. And then you can use you can get a sorted version of the tuple using the sorted global function. So remember, when we were looking at lists, when we used the sorted function, it created a new list. So when we're using the sorted function for tuples, it creates a new tuple. So I can say sorted names, and this would put them in alphabetical order. They already are in alphabetical order, but say there was one more word in this list, and then I can print this to print the sorted version, but it's not actually going to modify the list because you cannot modify a tuple. And then you can create a new tuple from existing tuples using the plus operator. So I could say something like new tuple equals names, and then I can use the plus operator, and then I would just say Tina and Quincy. I could add so these will combine two tuples into a new tuple, but you can never, like I said, you can't actually modify the original tuple. Now let's learn about dictionaries. Dictionaries are another very important Python data structure. While lists allow you to create collections of values, dictionaries allow you to create key value pairs. We already discussed dictionaries a little bit, but now we're going to discuss even more about dictionaries. So let me give you an example of a dictionary with just one key value pair. So dog equals, and then we're going to use the curly braces to create the dictionary, and I'll put name, and then I will put Roger. And just like any type of strings, we could make these single quotes or they could be double quotes. And the spaces here are not very important, but it's common to put spaces in between these things for better readability. And the key can be any immutable value. So this is the key, and this is the value, and the key can be any immutable value, such as a string, a number, or a tuple. The value can be in and very important. However, like I said, you can't